All right, so this is the Chevalier 3A 818 3-axis automatic surface grinder. And this is the control box for it. This machine is actually sold and going out the door, but we thought we'd make a video anyway. So it's currently wired for 220 volts, 3-phase. Hydraulic pump is over here. It's got 2 connections and a plug. And the coolant tank has just a plug and whatever kind of hosing you're going to attaches to the back of here someplace. You got your control here. You got a bunch of lights flickering and flashing. What does all that mean? Well, in the window here, this is a little window that's going to always show you conditions of the machine. If there's an error or an alarm or something it doesn't like, it's going to give you a number up there. Right now, it's probably because I got the e-stop button in. So I still got these buttons flashing here. This one says the cycle start. This one says the spindle. If I don't want to run the spindle, I could shut that one off. So nothing on here says start the hydraulics. You just have to know this is what this is. And why won't it start? It won't start because I don't have this off. It's a good lesson. Oh, still don't start. Why? Don't have the magnet on. Okay. That was it. Very quiet, but it is started. Have to have the chuck on. This is electric chuck. Has to be on. This is the variable for the chuck. And you cannot have, there's a switch mounted in here. This has to be in the off position for it to allow you to turn on the hydraulics. Those are all good things. All right, so that's the chuck over here. The next little box is basically your down feed and your program. Now all the way over here you have this little manual sign or edit sign. With that I can bring my wheel down. There's a rapid button there. It's actually 2 buttons. You've got to hold both buttons in so that you know you're going down, I guess. There's only 1 button for going up. I'm going to stop there. 1 button for going up, 2 for going down. All right, so you have a mode selector. Right now I was in manual, and only in manual can you use these up and down buttons. Then in the center here you've got this automatic cycle. I've just turned it into the automatic surface grinding mode. It's waiting for me to hit this button for it to start doing its thing. The next mode over here to the right is slot grinding or plunge grinding. In that mode, you're just moving the wheel down each time the table goes back and forth. You actually have a thing that you have to put in. If you don't have a number in here, if you have a 0, it won't work. When you put a 1 in there, it means that when we start the grinding, actual down feed, it's going to make this feed every time the wheel goes back and forth over the magnet. Now it's doing 4 pulses. And that's because I have 4 in here. I can change this to 3. Or 2. You also have a knob on here that if you pull it out and rotate it, you can set this on tenths, or you can set it on 1/10 or 2/10. You know, depending on the material you're grinding and whatever. All right, so it reached 0 while we were doing all that because the plunge cycle goes fairly quick. So again, I got to make sure this is off, my magnet is on, and I can start everything up. Once I start my table, now this might be feeding down too much for some jobs, so you can change this to a 2. Now it goes back and forth 2 times before it feeds. And you can go all the way to 9. You can go back and forth 9 times and then it feeds. If you're grinding some kind of carbide or diamond wheel into ceramics, that might be a nice feature. All right, or you can go back down to 1. So when we go into surface grinding mode, which is the one in the center, now we're going to be using the saddle. And the saddle is this little middle aisle here. And again, it's got three little knobs here. One all the way to the left is if you're going to work this manually by hand. In the center, it allows you to use your in and out. But when you want to go into the automatic mode, you put it over here. And now you get your light flashing again. So I've got to, anytime you change anything or do anything, you have to press that button. So now the saddle is moving. Now at the top is a potentiometer. That sets how much that saddle moves each time. A lot of people barely want to move. They want to move 20 thousandths. I don't know how low this will go. Pretty low. So that's what that is. You also can select which side of the magnet it parks to. It parks out when it's done. And this is the step. Well, I just showed you that. All right, so that's about everything. That's surface grinding. It'll work its way down to wherever the 0 mark is on that dial. And this dial, you can, the outer dial, you loosen here, and I can move this dial around. Excuse me. And bring it, say I know I got to take 5 thousandths off. I could bring this just 5 thousandths before 0, lock it down, and when it gets to 0, my part would be the right size. So to set up, you come down, you grind a part manually, you figure out how much more material you got to put it, you put it to 0 and then back it off that much, and that's how you get the machine set up. So there it is, the Chevalier 3A 818 3-axis automatic, and a good lesson in how to run it.